Big story tonight. There are more disturbing details on one of the worst acts of violence in our state's history.
Documents from the investigation into the Sandy Hook massacre have been released, shedding light into the gunman's anger and hatred for others.
Chief Capitol reporter Susan Raff is here now with the latest. Susan?
Denise and Dennis, these documents show that Adam Lanza was in deep social isolation for years before he shot and killed 20 children and 6 educators. He had problems. We knew that then, and now we are learning how serious those problems really were.
The newly released documents were seized by police during a search of Adam Lanza's home. They include writings, including a book describing violence against children. Lanza was only in 5th grade then. He wrote about hatred for fat people and considered pedophilia a form of love. These writings were considered personal belongings and were not made public. The Hartford Courant challenged that in the state Supreme Court. This past October, the court ruled the documents should be released. Starting in the 10th grade, his mother kept him home, where he was surrounded by an arsenal of guns, spending long hours playing video games. The Hartford Courant has reported that Lanza couldn't distinguish between his problems because he had too many. A report from the Office of the Child Advocate said his mental health problems were deteriorating, and access to guns was a recipe for mass murder.
Our communities have been impacted by gun violence, and it's growing, and we need Congress to take action now.
Since the massacre, Newtown Action Alliance has pushed for tougher gun legislation, but Congress has failed to have a debate. Senator Richard Blumenthal says now that Democrats control the House, there could be change. And he says some are planning to put forth things like universal background checks and more bans on assault-style weapons.
More than 90 people every day in this country, more than 90 people every day are killed as a result of gun violence.
The release of these documents comes just 4 days before the 6th anniversary of Sandy Hook, and coming up at 6, a father whose son was killed on that day tells us what we have learned from this tragedy and what he has been doing with others to prevent another Sandy Hook. Susan Raff, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.